Your car's engine is a marvel of controlled explosions. Thousands of times per minute, a precise mixture of air and fuel is compressed inside each cylinder. This mixture needs a trigger, a tiny bolt of lightning to kickstart the combustion process that generates power. That trigger is the spark plug. It might be a small, unassuming component, but its role is absolutely critical. Without a properly functioning spark plug, the air-fuel mixture would not ignite and your engine would not run. Think of it as the match that lights the fire. No matter how good the fuel is, without that initial spark, there is no power to move your car forward. So, how does this tiny device create such a powerful spark? The spark plug is connected to your car's ignition system. This system takes the low voltage from your car's battery and transforms it into a very high voltage, often tens of thousands of volts. This high voltage travels down an insulated wire to the spark plug. The plug itself is designed with a very specific gap between two electrodes, a central electrode and a ground electrode. The intense electrical pressure forces a current to jump across this gap, creating a bright, hot spark. This spark is precisely timed to occur just as the piston reaches the top of its compression stroke, ensuring maximum force is exerted to push the piston down. The importance of this single component cannot be overstated. The quality and timing of the spark directly impact your engine's performance, fuel efficiency, and emissions. A strong, consistent spark ensures that the air-fuel mixture burns completely and efficiently. This complete combustion extracts the maximum amount of energy from every drop of fuel, which translates to better gas mileage and more responsive acceleration. A weak or inconsistent spark, on the other hand, leads to incomplete combustion. This not only wastes fuel but also increases harmful emissions and can cause the engine to run rough, hesitate, or even misfire, which feels like a stutter or jolt while you are driving. Essentially, the spark plug is the gatekeeper of your engine's power. It's a simple part doing a complex and vital job. Every time you press the accelerator, you are relying on these small components to deliver a perfect spark, at the perfect time, in every single cylinder. Maintaining them is not just about keeping your car running, it's about ensuring your engine operates at its peak potential. Neglecting them is like asking a world-class sprinter to run a race in worn-out shoes. The potential is there, but the execution will be flawed, leading to a performance that is far from optimal. Let's break down the ignition cycle further. It all starts when you turn the key, or press the start button. The ignition coil amplifies the battery's 12 volts into a powerful surge of over 20,000 volts. This electrical charge is sent to the distributor or, in modern cars, directly to the spark plug via coil-on-plug technology. The spark plug's job is to channel this energy. The high voltage creates a potential difference between the center and ground electrodes. When this voltage is high enough to overcome the electrical resistance of the air-fuel mixture in the gap, electricity arcs across, creating the spark. This entire process happens with incredible speed and precision for each cylinder, perfectly synchronized with the engine's rotation. The lifespan of a spark plug is not infinite. Every single spark, while tiny, causes a minuscule amount of erosion on the electrodes. Over millions and millions of ignition cycles, this erosion adds up. The sharp edges of the electrodes become rounded, and the gap between them widens. A wider gap requires more voltage to create a spark, putting extra strain on the entire ignition system. Eventually, the gap can become so wide that the ignition coil can no longer generate enough voltage to produce a reliable spark, leading to a misfire. The harsh environment inside the engine cylinder, with its extreme temperatures, high pressure, and chemical byproducts of combustion, also contributes to the wear and tear on the plug. Several factors influence how long your spark plugs will last. The type of spark plug is a major determinant. Basic copper plugs have the shortest lifespan, typically needing replacement every 20,000 to 30,000 miles. More advanced plugs made from platinum or iridium have much harder electrode materials that resist erosion far better. These can often last anywhere from 60,000 to over 100,000 miles. Your driving style also plays a significant role. Aggressive driving with frequent hard acceleration and high RPMs puts more demand on the ignition system and can wear plugs out faster than gentle, steady highway cruising. The type of engine, particularly if it's turbocharged or high compression, also places higher stress on the plugs. Therefore, there is no single answer for how long a set of spark plugs will last. The best practice is to consult your vehicle's owner's manual. The manufacturer provides a recommended service interval based on extensive testing with the specific engine and factory-installed plugs. Adhering to this schedule is the surest way to maintain optimal engine health and performance. However, it is also wise to be aware of the symptoms of failing plugs, as certain conditions can cause them to wear out prematurely, requiring attention before the scheduled interval. Think of the manufacturer's recommendation as a baseline, not an absolute guarantee. Your car is quite good at telling you when something is wrong, and failing spark plugs are no exception. One of the most common and noticeable symptoms is a rough idle. When your car is stopped but the engine is running, you might feel an unusual vibration or a sputtering, uneven sound. This often happens because one or more spark plugs are not firing consistently, causing an imbalance in the engine's operation. Instead of a smooth sequence of power strokes, the engine experiences hiccups, which you feel as a rough idle. This is a clear signal that the ignition system needs to be inspected, and the spark plugs are the first and most likely culprit. Another clear indicator of spark plug trouble is difficulty starting the engine. A healthy ignition system with good spark plugs will fire up the engine almost instantly. If you find yourself cranking the engine for longer than usual before it turns over, it could be due to weak or fouled spark plugs. Fouled plugs are those that have become coated with deposits of oil, carbon, or fuel. This coating can insulate the electrodes, preventing a strong spark from forming. Cold, damp mornings can make this problem even worse, as more electrical energy is required to create a spark in those conditions. If starting your car becomes a struggle, worn plugs are a prime suspect. Pay attention to your car's acceleration. Do you feel a hesitation or stumble when you press the gas pedal? This is a classic sign of an engine misfire under load. When you demand more power from the engine, the pressure inside the cylinders increases, making it harder for the spark to jump the gap on a worn plug. The ignition system may fail to deliver a spark at that crucial moment, causing the engine to momentarily lose power. This hesitation not only hurts performance, but also puts extra stress on other engine components and can significantly increase unburned fuel passing into your exhaust system, potentially damaging the catalytic converter. Finally, one of the most compelling reasons to change your spark plugs is a noticeable drop in fuel economy. When spark plugs are not firing efficiently, your engine is not burning fuel completely. To produce the power you are asking for, the engine's computer will inject more fuel to compensate for the poor combustion. This means you will be making more frequent trips to the gas station without any change in your driving habits. If you track your miles per gallon and see a sudden, unexplained decline, old spark plugs are a very likely cause. Checking and replacing them is a simple, cost-effective way to restore your engine's efficiency and save money on fuel. When it is time to replace your spark plugs, you will find several different types available, primarily distinguished by the material used for the center electrode. The most basic and traditional type is the copper spark plug. These have a solid copper core with a nickel alloy electrode. Copper is an excellent conductor of electricity, which allows for a strong spark. However, nickel is a relatively soft material that wears down quickly. This is why copper plugs have the shortest lifespan, but they are also the most affordable. They are often the original equipment in older vehicles and some high-performance applications where frequent changes are standard practice. Moving up the ladder, we find platinum spark plugs. These plugs feature a small disc of platinum welded to the tip of the center electrode. Platinum is a much harder and more durable metal than nickel alloy, so it resists erosion for a much longer time. This allows platinum plugs to maintain a precise gap for tens of thousands of miles longer than copper plugs, often lasting up to 60,000 miles or more. There are also double platinum plugs, which have platinum discs on both the center and side electrodes. These are particularly well suited for modern waste spark ignition systems where the plug fires on both the compression and exhaust strokes. At the top of the range are iridium spark plugs. Iridium is an extremely hard and dense precious metal, even more durable than platinum. Because of its strength, manufacturers can use a very fine wire for the center electrode. A finer electrode requires less voltage to create a spark, which results in a more focused and consistent ignition. This leads to improved throttle response, better fuel efficiency, and the longest possible service life, often exceeding 100,000 miles. While they are the most expensive option initially, their longevity and performance benefits can make them a cost-effective choice in the long run for most modern vehicles. Choosing the right spark plug means matching the plug to your engine's requirements and your performance goals. Top brands like NGK, Denso, and Bosch offer a wide range of all three types. For most daily drivers, upgrading from copper to iridium can provide tangible benefits in smoothness and fuel economy. However, always consult your owner's manual first, as some engines are specifically designed for a certain type of plug. By investing in quality spark plugs, you are making a direct investment in your engine's health, reliability, and efficiency. It is a simple maintenance task that pays you back with a smoother, stronger, and more economical drive every single day.